Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Saturday, guys. I want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well this season. I got a word for you. Tap in. So guys, really quickly, I want to address the email from a young lady in regards to feeling like she's stuck. She's stuck and not knowing if the assignment is up or she is growing tired within her patience. So I wanted to share a few things. And ironically, sis, when I was reading your email, I was listening to a recording from Pastor R.C. Blakes from last night or from yesterday in regards to the importance of having patience with certain people. And one thing that he has said that was so profound to me was, and I quote, when the individual can no longer receive your instructions, the assignment is done. All caps. When a person can no longer receive your instructions, the assignment is done. That was so profound for me. So again, I've been honest to say, there's always an assignment. There's always an assignments on my end. And it's great because I love it. Because again, 95% of the chance I see exactly what it is that God needed to do and how he used me to do it in order to get the glory. So I don't have a problem with an assignment. I really don't. Sometimes they can be a little not dreadful, but just aggravating, I guess. But here's my thoughts, and he's absolutely correct. And a few other things what he talked about, I know is so important, is to monitor if the person is growing. That's crucial, because if you see someone growing, even if it's only 2% every month, I'm exaggerating, but you get my point. That's growth. That's growth. So you always want to stick it out when you see a person who is growing. The issue is those people who are just a brick wall, right? And a brick wall is cool too, because I've had a couple of brick walls and those bricks fell. But the point is, there are people who have this brick wall and they refuse to ever allow anyone to even chip at that brick. These individuals also believe that there is absolutely nothing wrong with them. They don't need to change. They don't need growth. They don't need iron sharpening iron. They don't need any of that. They have it all. They got it all figured out. They got it all figured out. So they can't even acknowledge that they need to be polished in certain areas. Excuse me. Those are the individuals. You leave them alone. Leave them alone until God, So gauge if there's any growth is what he was saying as well. One thing that I personally do, and if anybody is real enough, they'll tell you this about me. Before I even address a certain area that may be a struggle for you or may be an area that needs to really be polished and sharpened, I'm going to give you a whole list first of all your strengths and the things that I'm grateful for, the things that I really see you trying, and I will give you a whole list. It might be 30 things before I address this one thing. And as people, what do we tend to do? We tend to allow that one area that needs to be sharpened, constructive criticism, to override or dismiss all of the wonderful things that I just said. I can't tell you how many people, well, I've said this before. My staff on it constantly. I always hear things like, I really admire you. I love your strength. I see how you move. I don't know how you do it all, but oh my goodness, I really admire you. Blase, 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 and so on. But it will be these same individuals. And this is a very small amount of people now. For the most part, like I said, I don't have any issues with the staff. I always talk about the 5 or the 10% that is used for assignment purposes, right? So there's going to always be challenges there. But 90% straight stabilized, longevity type of thing, right? But the same individual who say, oh, well, I love how you X, Y, and Z, blase, blase, will be the very same individuals who will have a whole charade when you have to address areas that will help them, areas that will help them expand. Well, you're being contradictory, because how would you say, wow, I want to do this, or I want you to challenge me here, or I want you to help me grow here and help me see things this way, and then if I have to address this, you're having this whole charade. Like, girl, sis, ma'am, did I just not give you a list of 30 things that you're doing great? Do you think I don't get sharpened? Do you think I don't know how it feels? Iron sharpening. Iron is the toughest thing. It does not feel good at all, especially because women are very sensitive. Then you throw empath in there. You throw HSP in there, highly sensitive people. Listen, it does not feel good at all. Tears and all. But how would you grow? So now you want to, okay. Now you're in your feelings. Well, do what you got to do, boo. Do what you got to do. But you will remain right where you are until you are comfortable with someone giving you constructive criticism. Because you want to grow. You want to grow. If you don't want to grow, then stop asking for it, right? Okay. So again, with assignments, my patience gear is great because I have grace for the assignment. Flesh, I ain't got time. I'm gonna cut you off and keep it moving. Call it a new day. It is what it is. I ain't got time. When you get to a certain level, you will understand the importance of not allowing people to waste your time. Either you get it or you don't, right? Time is, you don't even realize how much time you allow people to waste until you get to a certain level. And you be like, oh my, I stayed how long in that relationship? I stayed how long in that unhealthy relationship? You don't even realize the importance of time until you get to a certain level. So when it's assignments, then I monitor very closely. Is this person growing? Or is this person staying stagnant? Is this person taking the information that I am giving them, that I'm getting from the Spirit? Are they applying that? Or are they not? Do I see any growth? When I bring something to your attention, do you make that change? Right? And you may not always get it right all the time, but are you even trying to make the change? Then that lets me know that it's not time to give up, because I see the changes. I see the person trying. I see how the person is taking the words and really taking it to God to figure out, now when I'm giving you my time to pour into you and you don't want to listen over and over and over and over, that is the ultimate disrespect. When you're wasting somebody's time, especially an individual whose time is usually used to help so many others. So then I have to go back like, okay, God, is this really an assignment you want me to, please let your girl know. Do I have the release button yet? Because I'm ready to release it. I don't see any growth. I don't see anybody trying. I got to go. And then he may give me something like, one more week or one more chance. Or I'm going to give you one other thing to download. And then I'll let you know. Okay. Okay. So then, of course, that requires me to have patience, right? I got grace in that area with assignments. So now I have patience. So I'm going to do whatever it is that you tell me to do, Lord. And then I'll wait for you to see how you unfold this thing, how this thing is going to unpack. But I know that I can't release it until I hear from you. How do you know when you hear from God that it's time to release it? Because like Pastor Blake said, when the person can no longer receive what you're giving them, the assignment is done. So that means everything that I'm giving you, constructive criticism, this, that, a chance, blase, this, that. And you can't even receive it. You're constantly going against it. You want to fuss, you want to do this, and you're going against it. You can't even hear what I'm saying. You're not applying. Then your time is up. So I'll give you two different examples. Since, you guys know Mr. Steve at this point. Again, when I met Mr. Steve was drunk out his mind. Drunk out his mind on the side of a cold building, just drunk and foolish. Drunk and foolish, right? But every single time I encountered that man, when I would sit him down and give him whatever it is God was giving me spiritually to give to him. Mr. Steve is what, 62? But he's old enough to be my dad. He would sit there and just look at me and take all of that. Not one time say, girl, you're young enough to be my daughter, my granddaughter. And I don't want to hear none of that. I've been living here longer than you. And none of that. None of that. And of course, I respect him immensely, homeless or not, right? He's my elder. So everything I gave him, he listened and he applied. Every time I see him, he's growing. Every time I see him, he's doing every single thing, the download that I gave him that I got in spirit. He applied it. And now this man is amazing. This man is amazing. That's growth. That's me seeing how me being patient with him when the whole world threw him away, me being patient with him and allowing God to use me as a vessel. How this is an assignment that I don't give up on, because I see God in it. All right. So on the flip side, assignments that when it's time to, so I'll use someone who I hired like a year ago. When I hired her, I wasn't going to hire her actually, because she didn't have an application that showed longevity on her. I like longevity, right? Because if I'm looking at an application and you've been somewhere 5-10 years, that tells me a lot about you, right? You're about stability, etc. When you got this application, you've been here 6 months, 8 months, So I got convicted to pull her application and to hire her. And I was like, God, this, He's like, Kizzy, I don't want to hear your mouth today. I don't want to hear your mouth today. I need something I need to do, right? And I have to do it through you. And this time, I'm not even going to tell you to the forefront what it is. You'll learn after the fact. I'm like, Lord, but that means if it's short term, I'm going to have to go through this whole process of screening and hiring it. But okay. I submit. So I hired this young lady, right? Very great worker. Very great worker. I never take that from anybody. Great worker. But when I hired her, she was going through a quote-unquote divorce. So she actually relocated And you know, like anybody else at the beginning of a job, oh, I want to be the best worker ever. I want to be there for years. I'm so happy. Oh, God, that's so good. Right? Everybody get this. When God gives them the opportunity, they're just doing cartwheels. Child, please. Me? I don't care if I'm 25, 30 years in something. If I know God gave it to me, I always bring my mind back to the time when I really wanted that thing. Oh, I stay planted. I never forget what God, listen, because all that praying and all that stuff you did before you received something, you better be doing that thing to keep it. So, she relocated the whole 9 yards. Again, God already told me it's going to be short term. So as time went on, I started to get some real heavy downloads in my spirit that she was back seeing her husband. Listen, that's personal, right? That's your husband. Do what you do, boo, right? So the flesh side of me, I can care less about who got what going on. But I have to be obedient in the spirit to let you know. Like, so I went to her, on some real, authentic transparency type conversation. I was like, listen, I don't know what you got going on. It's not, listen, when you leave off this environment, whatever you do is what you do, right? As long as it don't affect your job. But I got some downloads. You're back seeing your husband. It is what it is. You had already kind of told me about the history you guys have, which is not a great one. Whatever you do, don't ever give him this job location. This ain't Kizzy, this spirit. Also, he's going to cause you to lose this job. That's it. No more, no less. No more conversations about it. I'm just take it how you want to take it. Present it to God. Ask him how he wanted you to receive that. Dissect and spit out what ain't for you, but I'm just telling you what I got. Some more weeks went on. Started to see some things, right? Pull her to the side again. Listen. I'm telling you now, it's coming more and more heavy. Whatever you got going on, go ahead and straighten that thing up. Because again, I don't care how fond I am of somebody. When God says release you, you can be on that floor holding on to my legs, begging for your job. If God says, because Kissy can't do it in the flesh. Not when I'm seeing tears, honey. I'm going to be on that floor with you crying. But when God says release you, I'm going to choose God over you any day. Any day. So everything that I was giving her, right? Having patience. She was screwing up with some areas, but not enough. She was screwing up. But God kept saying, be patient. There's going to be a major turn. Just be patient, because this stuff right here is petty. Be patient. Even though it was aggravating to me in the flesh, be patient. Just keep giving the downloads when I tell you to give the downloads. So fast forward. I think she worked maybe like 6 months. So there were downloads throughout, but she wouldn't listen. So then one day she was in her feelings about something. I wouldn't get into that, but it was some issues between her and her husband. Obviously had got back together and there were some issues. But sometimes, ladies, when we're going through some things, everybody, when we're going through some things in the relationship, it affects your mood at work. Listen, dude didn't come home last night and now I got to be work 7 o'clock. What? And you and me, what? Well, I wouldn't put up with that nonsense, but I'm just saying. Okay. Girl, I'm been there though, trust me. All right, so everything I was telling her, she wouldn't apply it. But this chick came to me one day and said, in her pettiness, because she was going through some issues at home and something she wasn't doing at the job, I brought it to her attention. So she was already in her feelings anyway about the husband and his nonsense, and then her feelings about what's going on with them, and she was already half behinding it at the job. So now I have to address something that she's half behinding at the job, but because she's already in her feelings. Then this chick turned around and said to me, well, remember when you said last month that my husband is going to cause me to lose my job? God didn't tell me that. Well, I mean, that's fine. I always tell people, always, go to your source first. I never told you I was your source. I told you a download that God gave to me. You are to take that download, if you receive it, take it to God, take it in prayer, and ask God, well, if you told Kizzy and her big mouth that, how do you want me to receive that? Is that even for me? If God says no, just spit it out. But I'm not going to hold back from a download that I got to help your watermelon head. God didn't tell her that. 1 week later, if that, the Spirit said to me, your assignment is about to be up. Well, I mean, things were fine at this point. So I thought. I mean, there was no issue within the job. Spirit said, get ready. Go ahead, start looking for a replacement. Assignment is about to be up. Of course, I didn't say this to her. I just moved in spirit, you know. Keep in mind, before I say this, I told her never to tell her husband where she worked. Because it was already a tumultuous marriage. Like, just, you know, I would have never hired her if I wasn't instructed to. I'll just say that. Because again, when it comes down to certain things, like I told her not to say where she was working when they were going through a quote unquote divorce. And I told her several times, not knowing she was back seeing him, told her several times, at times, I found out she was seeing him after the more closer to the end of the assignment. But I told her several times prior to knowing she was back seeing him that he was going to be the cause that she would lose her job. And this time, she would be without a job for a while, at least a good job, because I take care of my staff. She would be without a good job for a while because it's almost like God had already told her in this spiritual realm, when I give you this job, you better do the right thing or you're on your own after this, right? So I'm trying to give you a great opportunity to start your life over. Mess it up, you're on your own. But no, God didn't tell me that. Well, okay. So, the day of firing, where was I? I think I was out of town, actually. I think I was out of town. So I received a phone call from her. Is there any way I can get the cameras pulled? Cameras for what? Someone flat or four my car tires, and I'm sure it was my husband. Honey, we don't do that get-on-ness up over here. We don't do that get-on-ness up over here. Flat what? In front of where? I already know my job is gone. Listen, I don't want to hear all that, right? Where's my patient? We'll talk about tires and cameras when I get there. Did I not tell you that the Spirit said to never tell this man where you work? But no, God ain't told me that. Before I can get off the phone with her, my Instagram DM is blowing up from her husband. I didn't even know the dude. How do you even know me? I never met you. How you found me? So I called her. Why is your husband messaging me? And why is your husband? How did he find me? Oh, one day I was just telling him how much I admire you and how beautiful you was. So I sent him a screenshot of your. girl, I don't know what kind of foolishness y'all got going up over here, but ain't nothing happening over here. So if that's the life y'all living outside of this job, do what you do. But let you and your husband know ain't nothing happening, okay? Because I don't know any other reason you will be sending your husband pictures, screenshots of my Instagram. And now, this dude is, I'm talking about like psycho blowing up. Went down and like every single last one of my photos. Ghetto. And I want to turn around and say, God, didn't I say, this is why I don't do this? Don't. But you told me to put, why I had to hire. Kizzy, shut your mouth. So now, not only is he being petty, I'm so beautiful, I'm so this, I'm so sexy. Now I'm just like, you know, boy, wrong chick. Please understand, wrong chick. I didn't say this to him, right? I'm just letting him send all these messages. I'm not even going to respond. I'm going to let God move. Now, all these messages coming through. But God ain't tell me that. All these messages coming through. Personal things, as well as information within the job. Boom, fired. Now all the tears and the, no, let me explain it. He just don't want, Petty Paul about the kicking, right? No. I don't want to hear about what he don't want you to have nothing. He just know that you know you're gonna have a job and you're gonna be able to move forward. And you, sis. I don't do conversations after the fact. I don't do conversations after the fact. I've been patient within the process. I gave you downloads within the process, but you want to, not my husband. Okay. Job gone. But let me tell you what this nutcase did. Excuse me. Let me tell you what this child of God did. The husband. Now he's annoyed with me because, of course, I'm not going to respond back. I don't do that foolishness and ghetto nonsense, right? So in his mind, because I'm not responding back and say, hey, your wife's going to lose her job. Ha, 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 ha. He thinks I'm still going to keep her. He's so paranoid now that she will have a job and be able to buy a house elsewhere and leave her. He goes and report my business. Listen. He goes and report my business. Which, listen, I don't even worry about that nonsense. I always tell people all the time, if you stay ready, you ain't never got to get ready. I was in the middle. And the reason why he reported my business, because he felt like, well, she's not going to fire her, which the girl was already fired. The young lady was already fired. I'm just not about to have that conversation with you. I didn't hire you, right? So in his mind, because of course the wife wasn't responding to him, in his mind, well, if I get Kizzy's business shut down, foolish. Let me just say this right quick. Don't you ever, anybody, don't you ever put your hands on a chosen one. Be very careful ever putting your hands on a child of God, a chosen one. You got to be very careful. Like I used to hear people say that, but I never really received it until a certain level. You can mess your whole life up playing around with trying to hurt or attempting some nonsense. All right. I was in the middle. Now, mind you, of course, now this is like the next week. So one of my staff, now the young lady was already fired. But one of my regular staff had stayed over and covered the shifts until I got to the point of pulling applications, things like that again. I was in the middle of a video shoot. Actually, it was the video shoot for the Key Sweat candles. Cameras in my face. And I pick up my phone, and my staff said, I don't know what you call it, but you know, like when somebody like report like elder abuse, or like if a child is being every state is different. My staff called and she said, Kizzy, such and such is at the door, said that they got a call from I won't say his name, of course, from my ex-staff husband, and he gave them a whole list of stuff, right? Stuff he made up. Again, he, in his mind, if I get Kizzy shut down, my wife would no longer have a job. I said, okay. I said, give them my card, have them to call me, or better yet, tell them I'll call them at this amount of time after my video shoot. Why wasn't you frantic, Kizzy, in the middle of a shoot? How could you still go on, Kizzy, in the middle of a shoot, knowing that your business is in jeopardy? Who? Girl, please put this camera back up on me and get these legs in the process. Me worried about what? Girl, let me tell you something. When God has his hand on you, nobody can touch you. Excuse me. But this is also the key. Child of God or not, you have to always, always, always do the right thing. Now, if you slipping, right? If you're slipping and you mishandling something, listen, you on your own, boo. When you do what you're supposed to do, when you're obedient, you're not worried about who Satan's saying, none of that. So I finished my video shoot. I left. I called this young lady who happened to be a child of God. We were on the phone. She's supposed to be calling me to talk about some paperwork and things I needed to present. Honey, we was on that phone for 2 hours talking about the Lord. Talking about the Lord. Talking about the Lord. At the end of the conversation, I said, oh, I forgot. The reason why we're really talking is my ex-staff, husband, he called you guys, and of course she couldn't tell me who it was, but I knew who it was. And I sent her every single screenshot of his messages, every single screenshot of his wife messages in regards to him telling her, I'm going to get you fired and all this other stuff. Y'all going to be out of business and you would never have a job. Child, please. Oh, okay. I said, I'll be sure that I'll send you some legal documentations. She said, Mrs. Kizzy, don't you send me nothing else. I don't even need nothing else. Case is closed. We'll deal with him. We can't get into that. We'll deal with him for false reporting XYZ, blah, 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 blah. No more, no less. I say that to say to you guys, any one of you, let me tell you something. Don't you ever in your life allow Satan to threaten you and make you feel, as long as you're doing the right thing, you never worry. You don't fight your own battles, but I can guarantee you. Now, I haven't heard or seen. I can guarantee you without a doubt, his life has been turned upside down since that time. Not saying I want it. Not saying I'm happy about it. My spirit don't let me know. Life turned upside down. Anything you touch will fail. Be careful how you deal with God's people. I'm telling you. So, how do I know that assignment was up? There was no growth. There was no growth. There was always a comeback. but this, but that. Honey, you can't ask me to help you grow. You can't ask me to help you start your business and actually, and you can't take, girl, stay right there in that foolishness. Because we don't do that get on this up over here. Call it what you want to call it. Right? But anyway, this was fun. I didn't even know I would be talking this long. I have to go and, well, you guys have a great weekend. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.